Hello, awesomes again. How we doing? All right, today we're going to talk about peer review coming up this Friday. So let's go ahead and click on it right here. All right, so you need to make your initial post of your draft by Friday, July 14th. Okay, and then you reply to two of your fellow classmates' papers or posts, right, if you will, by midnight, July 16th. That's Sunday. Responding to their memo, and that'll make sense here in the formatting, right? Offering helpful feedback on their issues and offering encouraging criticism for revising. Okay. All right, here's the format. So you have your three responses, right? Or you have your letter, memo, and your email, your letter, followed by your email and your memo, whatever, however order that you did it, okay? Responding to the scenarios. Once you have those done, the very first thing, you put your cursor at the very top, give yourself some room. You're going to write a memo to your potential reviewers, okay? Telling them maybe some of the things that you struggled with, some things that you particularly like them to pay attention to. What are some things in the three scenarios, right? In your three bad news correspondences, is there one common theme that you want them to take a look at? It could be grammar, it could be mechanics, as I say here, it could be punctuation. It can also have to do with content. You can say, hey, the first one I feel like I did really good with the buffer. Maybe the second one, I struggled with the buffer on the third one. Not sure if my reason is strong enough in the to Mr. Weed, right? Not for sure if I captured delivering the bad news gracefully. Okay, right. In when I was, telling Vortex Appliance about the issues, right, about overtime or whatever, if you were projecting the future or whatever. Be specific, right? Things that you feel that you struggled with, and those things are okay, right? We're as a writer who does this every single day in business writing, I struggle sometimes the smallest little things, right? Just one section of something that I'm writing and it's for a proposal for a company, or I'm delivering some bad news, even if I'm delivering some good news, right? Something the news, whatever it is, still has to be delivered professionally, properly, right? Where there's shared understanding of what exactly is happening, what's going on. So all those things are available, right? I struggle with the formatting of the memo. I struggle with the formatting of the letter. I'm not sure if I got this part right or or whatever. Feel free to help direct the person who's going to be reviewing your work. Give them some guidance in the sense of the things that you are interested in, you feel like you struggled with, that you really want to make sure that you get some feedback on. And I think that the feedback this way, or peer review, works much better this way as opposed to just posting it out there and letting someone else kind of assume. Because I don't want, when we do peer review, what I don't want us to do is everyone to take on and feel like that they are grading it, right? Even when I look at your work for the first time, when I look at your Project One correspondence portfolios for the first time, while I have to give it a grade because I'm required to, the larger issue for me is going to be like, what can I say to help you with this project? Is there anything that I can see as I'm reading it that maybe that you're struggling with that I can provide help for, right? Also, when providing feedback, right? That's why I say, make sure you're offering encouraging criticism for revising. And hopefully this goes without saying, always make sure that you let the writer know, all right? Let your fellow student know what they're doing really, really, really well. Yeah. If you, even when you read their memo, as you read their work, find something that they are doing exceptionally well. It could be grammar, it could be punctuation, it could be mechanics, it could be a combination of things, right? Formatting, always be complimentary, right? So think about providing feedback. Same way that as we're talking about delivering any type of news, start off with a compliment, right? And then segue into some of the things. So as you ask me to look at, here are some things that I might think about, for revising that particular area, right? You mentioned in your memo that you were struggling with the buffer in scenario number 2. That one was a hard one for me too. And here's kind of how I looked at it to help me think of what the buffer might sound like, right? Plus 2, even the larger issue, what's good about peer review and providing feedback in this, besides preparing you for the business world, because not a day goes by that I'm not sending somebody my work, somebody sending me their work, and we are constantly looking at each other's work and providing feedback. Or anything, it also gives you an opportunity to see how other approaches to the same assignment look, right? How do they sound? How did someone else interpret what it meant to buffer, to write a couple of buffer sentences for the first scenario, the second scenario, the third scenario, right? It opens up and provides you with even more possibilities and more opportunities. Even then, when you sit back to revise and you maybe perhaps think about that same point of view, not copy and paste what they did, but the sentiment, right? The angle, the perspective of how they looked at that scenario. Those are oftentimes, sometimes the most beneficial part of doing peer review. So speaking of which, right, I think we've looked a little bit. Parts of a memo are very, very, I don't want to say very, very basic, but to, from, date, subject. I like, in my memos that I do, always make sure that the word memo, I like to have the word memo up there. This sample does not have it on there. I think that, and although it is obvious, but anyway, write a memo to your potential reviewer. I wanted to point out this one last example. We were looking at this at the end of the last video. This one here says, "Week, I can't be responsible for delays in finishing the project because you didn't send me the information in a timely manner." Try this one. All right. Please send me the information as soon as possible and let me know if there's anything I can do to help with this process. Right? You notice the difference between it's not necessarily one is weak or stronger, weak or better. I prefer to look at these as effective, right? The second one is much more effective in the sense of not only maintaining a relationship, because I have to send requests constantly at work as well. And while I'm sending it, as in this person here, right, I'm sending an email, I'm sending a memo, I may be proposing a letter to an entire department needing something to finish my project. Not going to do any good if I'm accusatory, right? That's not going to get anywhere. Think about yourself as a human being, how you respond to the way that you are, with the way information is delivered to you, right? And the kind of frame and the kind of mindset that puts you in, depending on how something is requested for. So think about that. So I'll leave you with that. All right, guys. I wish you all the most wonderful week. I know you guys will do awesome. As I think of other things that might be helpful, I'll shoot it your way. Sorry, a couple of videos a little bit longer than I usually do. I apologize for that, guys. All right. Have a great week. Until we meet again, until we see each other.